We think we know the people we live with. We share a bed, a kitchen, and a life. Now, what if the person next to you is a complete stranger? Today, we're looking at 5 Reddit stories from men who discovered a second life behind their partner's smile. Some found hidden bank accounts, others found entire families, and some found things much darker. Lock your doors. This is The Stranger in My Bed.
I always thought I was a boring guy with a boring life. Married for 15 years to Sarah, a woman who liked gardening and Sunday brunches. We didn't have secrets, or so I thought. It started with a mistake. A simple letter delivered to our porch while Sarah was visiting her mother. The name on the envelope wasn't hers. It said Elena Vance, but the address was ours. I thought it was a previous tenant. But then I saw the return address, a private bank in Switzerland. My heart did a strange double tap against my ribs. I shouldn't have opened it. I know that now. But I did. Inside was a statement for an account with more money than I have earned in my entire career. Elena Vance, my wife, had nearly $2 million in a hidden account. And the most terrifying part? The account was active. Someone was making deposits every month from a city Sarah claimed she had never visited. I sat there in the dark for 3 hours. I looked at our wedding photo on the desk. Who was this woman? Was Sarah just a character she played for me? Every memory of the last decade started to feel like a scene from a movie I didn't know I was starring in. I didn't confront her that night. I watched her sleep. For the first time in 12 years, I looked at Sarah and saw a blank wall. Who was Elena Vance? I spent the next 3 days like a ghost in my own house. I checked her phone while she showered. Nothing. Deleted logs, encrypted apps. She was careful, professional. On Friday, I followed her. She told me she was going to her pottery class. Instead, she drove 40 miles out of town to a high-end gated community. I watched from a distance as she opened a mailbox with a key she didn't have on our shared keychain. She pulled out a stack of documents, scanned them with her phone, and put them back. Her movements were precise, mechanical. When she got home, I was waiting in the kitchen. The Swiss bank letter was on the table. She didn't flinch, she didn't scream. She just put her keys down, looked at the letter, and then looked at me. Her face changed. The Sarah I knew, the gentle, smiling gardener, it simply evaporated. Her eyes turned cold, like 2 pieces of gray ice. "How much do you know, Mark?" she asked. Her voice was lower, stripped of its usual warmth. I told her about the $2 million. I told her about Elena Vance. She sat down opposite me and said something that still keeps me awake. "Mark, if you love your life, you will burn that letter and we will never speak of this again, because Elena Vance is the only reason you're still breathing." That was 6 months ago. We still live together. We still have Sunday brunkins. But every night I lie in bed next to her, staring at the ceiling, wondering if the woman sleeping beside me is my wife, or the person sent to watch me.
Some secrets are kept to protect us, others to control us. But what if the secret isn't about money? What if it's about a life you never knew existed? Story number 2. They say photos don't lie. But what if a single picture proves that your entire childhood was a lie? Story number 2.
I'm 22. My life was normal until 3 weeks ago. My parents are the kind of people who have a perfect life. House in the suburbs, golden retriever, church on Sundays. I was helping my mom clear out the attic when I found an old, locked wooden box hidden behind some insulation. I thought it was old jewelry. I forced it open. Inside wasn't jewelry. It was a stack of Polaroids from 1999, the year I was born. In every photo, my parents were holding a baby. A boy. But it wasn't me. The baby had a distinct birthmark on his neck, shaped like a crescent moon. I checked the mirror. I don't have that. Then I found a death certificate. Same name as mine. Jacob Miller. Dated 6 months before my actual birth date on my ID. I felt like the floor had disappeared. I'm living in a dead boy's room. I'm wearing his name. When I asked my dad about the box, he didn't get angry. He just turned pale, walked to the door, and locked it. He sat me down and said, "Jake, we did what we had to do to be a family again. Don't ever open that box in front of your mother." Now I look at my mom and I wonder, who was my real mother? And where did they get me? I didn't stop at the box. While my parents were at a charity dinner, I broke into my father's private safe in the basement. I found a folder marked Private Endowment. Inside were medical records from a closed-down clinic in a town 4 hours away. There were photos of my mother in a hospital bed, looking devastated. And then a handwritten contract. No lawyers, no official stamps. Just a signature from my father and another man. The contract was for the replacement of Jacob. It was dated 2 days after the first Jacob died. I did some digging online. The town they went to had a massive scandal in the late 90s. Homeless women were disappearing from the local shelters. One of them had a baby boy. She vanished and the baby was never found. I looked at the old police sketch of the missing woman, and I saw my own eyes staring back at me. My parents didn't adopt me. They bought me to fill a hole in their perfect life. I'm sitting at dinner with them now. My mom is smiling, telling me about her garden. My dad catches my eye and gives me a subtle nod, a warning. I realize now that they don't love me for who I am. They love me because I'm a ghost that looks like their son. I've started packing my bags. I don't know where I'm going, but I can't stay in a house built on a stolen life. Last night, I looked at that birthmark-free neck in the mirror and whispered my real name. The problem is, I still don't know what it is.
Family should be our refuge, but sometimes the place we spend 8 hours a day can be even more dangerous. What happens when a dream salary turns into a marriage in hell? Story number 3.
2 years ago, I was drowning in debt. Then I found a job listing, night security analyst. No experience needed. $150,000 a year. The catch? I had to sit in a private office from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. and never leave the room. My task was simple: watch a single black door on monitor 3. If someone knocked, I had to press a red button. If they didn't, I did nothing. For 6 months, I got paid to watch movies and drink coffee. It was the easiest money of my life. My friends were jealous. My bank account was full. But the isolation started to eat at me. I began to wonder what was behind that door. My contract said sensitive data storage, but no one ever came or went until last Tuesday. The power flickered. Monitor 3 went dark for exactly 5 seconds. When it came back, the black door was slightly ajar. I knew the rules. Never leave the room. But I was bored and curious. I left my post and walked down the long, silent hallway. The room behind the door wasn't a server room. It was a perfect 100% replica of my own apartment. Everything was there: my messy bed, my books, the half-empty bottle of bourbon on my nightstand. I felt sick. I walked to the desk in this fake apartment and found a folder. Inside were logs of my entire life, not just my work hours, every minute of my time at home. Photos of me sleeping, eating, even talking to myself. I realized then that I wasn't guarding a door. I was being kept in that office so someone else could live in my apartment and play my life while I was gone. I quit that night. I didn't even go back for my things. I moved 3 states away, but sometimes when I'm sitting in my new living room, I hear a faint click from the corner, like a camera lens focusing, and I wonder, who is guarding my door tonight?
Inheriting a huge estate is a dream. But sometimes what our ancestors leave us is not money, but debts that cannot be paid. Story number 4.
My uncle Elias was a ghost. For 30 years, he lived alone in a mansion that the local townspeople refused to approach. When he died, he left everything to me. I thought I'd hit the jackpot: a house, 50 acres of land, and a vault full of antiques. But Elias had one condition in his will. I had to live in the house for 30 consecutive days before I could sell it. The first week was fine. It was just an old, creaky house. But then I started noticing things. My uncle didn't have mirrors, not a single one. Every reflective surface, even the windows in the hallway, was covered with heavy black curtains. I thought it was just the eccentricity of a dying man. I was wrong. On night 12, the wind was so strong, it blew open the curtains in the library. I saw my reflection for the first time in that house, but something was off. My reflection didn't move when I did. It stood there, staring at me with a grin that didn't belong on my face. I closed my eyes, counting to 10. When I opened them, it was gone. I found a journal in the desk. My uncle's handwriting was shaky, frantic. He wrote about the guest in the glass. He claimed that our family didn't own this land. We were its jailers. He wrote that every generation, one of us has to stay in this house to keep the reflection from crossing over. If the house stays empty for more than 24 hours, the curtains fall, and whatever is on the other side finally walks free. I realized why Elias never married, why he never left. He wasn't a hermit, he was a prisoner. I looked at the brass key in my hand. It didn't fit any door in the house. It fitted a padlock on a heavy iron trapdoor under the rug in the library. I opened it last night. Underneath the house isn't a basement. It's a room made entirely of mirrors, thousands of them, and in the center of the room, there's a chair and a single lamp. There was a note on the chair. "Your turn, Thomas. Keep the light on. Don't look at the corners." I've been sitting in this library for 48 hours now. I can hear scratching behind the walls, not from rats, from fingernails. I want to run. I want to leave this place and never look back. But I know if I step outside that gate, whatever is in those mirrors will follow me. My uncle didn't leave me a fortune. He left me a life sentence. Every time I pass a window, I see myself standing outside in the rain, waving at me to come out. But I know that's not me. I'm the one inside. For now.
The truth is, we only see what people want us to see. We walk through life assuming we know the person next to us, but every soul has a room that is always locked. If you have a story that keeps you awake at night, share it in the comments. This is a safe place for the truth. And if you're brave enough to hear more, subscribe and join our circle. Until next time, keep your doors locked and your secrets even closer. This was The Stranger in My Bed. Good night.